February of 1981, about 10 days after the inauguration of our current president, we went to work on a poem. The biggest problem we had with this poem was what we was gonna call it. First, we decided we would name this poem From Real to Real. That would be from R-E-E-L to R-E-A-L. And we said, no, might be some people that don't get it. Then we said we would name the poem From Real to Surreal, and we would draw a lot of lines under the surreal and say, that's the one. Then we said, no, might be some people that don't get it. So finally we decided that we would name this particular poem From Shogun to Raygun, and just underline the whole goddamn thing and point at it like that. You see, because the word came down in the neighborhood that there had been a mandate for Raygun. Mandate meaning an overwhelming majority. Mandate meaning a landslide. Meaning a majority of such proportions that it entitles the holder of said mandate to change everybody's life 180 degrees. So we went down in the neighborhood and we told the brothers, we said, hey, it's been a mandate for Raygun. And they said, oh yeah? What was the final score? So we said, well, 26% of the registered voters voted for Raygun. They said they would have been more impressed if it had been 26% of the American people. Big difference there. Then we found out that Skippy used to be the president. And he was running against Raygun, but he only got 21%. Skippy bit the dust. Skippy being the symbol of the thing that be on the peanut butter jars, because Peanut Man was the president prior to Raygun. But he was landslud, I think they call it. He come from the South, so they call it landslud. He had been landslud the hell on back to Georgia. Then we found out there was some other people running, and nobody knew that except their immediate family. And between all of the other people who were running for president, they only got 2%. So we added it up, we said 26% for Raygun, 21% for Skippy, 2% for miscellaneous, and that come to 49%. So people immediately recognized the fact that that meant that 51% of the registered voters had voted for nobody. And so they felt that democratically speaking, nobody should be the president. And it damn near have worked out that way. Somebody come to me the other day and said, wasn't nobody the president? It's damn near right. They also pointed out that since Raygun got 26% of the registered voters, that meant that 74% of the registered voters did not vote for Raygun. So there was a mandate, all right, but it was going in the opposite direction. See, a lot of folks felt as though this was the first time we had ever said anything about Raygun. That's not true. He had managed to play small parts in other poems of ours. We did a poem one time called The Bicentennial Blues. And we referred to Raygun as Hollyweird. So he acted like an actor, acted like a Democrat, and acted like a liberal back in the late 40s when he was acting like the head of the Studio Actors Guild. It was Raygun's job to defend people from accusations of communism that came from a man named McCarthy, who was a Republican. Ron's job was to defend people like Dalton Trumbo and David Susskind and Dashiell Hammett from the rages of McCarthyism, who was looking for communists under the corner of every bed. Next time we saw Ron, he was a Republican. He was acting like one of them. Acted like General Franco when he acted like governor of California. Showed up in 1976 acting like somebody was gonna vote for him for president. And then showed up in 1980 acting like 26% of the registered voters was actually a mandate. A hell of an acting job. You see, what has happened is that America has changed over the last 20 years, and a lot of people don't want to recognize the change. 26% of the registered voters are looking for the America that existed 25 years ago. And so they elected someone whose ideas correspond with America 25 years ago. America has changed from a producer to a consumer, and then a quantum leap. See, when America was a producer, it was my way or the highway. I got it, you need it, need cash, need cash, need cash. But now that America is a consumer, They want all the rest of the consumers to get behind them and jump on the producers. They don't know if they want to be Bob Dylan or Matt Dillon. They don't know if they want to be diplomats or continue to threaten the world with a nuclear nightmare. See, being the producer will change your world. Everybody who gets a chance to produce gets a chance to change their position. The third world is changing. The Arabs used to be in the third world. They have bought the second world and put a firm down payment on the first one. Being the producer will change your world. America used to be a country that looked forwards to things, and all of a sudden all we heard was, yesterday. They call it nostalgia, but it don't mean nostalgia, it means some nostalgia. The way we were. Hell, that's what we was trying to get away from, the way we were. The summer of 42 rather than the summer of 82. Them good old boys, them good old days, them good old boys, them good old days, them good old boys, them good old days, sold American. Back to a time when America always showed up at the last minute to save the day. Back when someone always showed up at the last minute to save America. Back to the 40s and 50s when the heroes rode in right at the nick of time and saved America from whatever throes they were in. America started to look back to a time when you get to see 2 movies every time you paid for one. You see, when I was a younger man, we went to the movies and they would have 2. They would have the one you were paying for, and then they would have a second movie that they threw in on the side that was sort of like a bonus. And the second one was called a B movie. And that would be the one that Reagan was in. You see? It would be one of them gangster flicks with everybody talking down the side of their mouth, see? Or it would be one of them military flicks where you just salute everything that moves. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Or something with the monkey. Our president used to work with a monkey, and the monkey was the smartest one of the 2 of them. I ain't got nothing against the monkey. The monkey is all right. See, that's called a diversion. They got us watching the monkey with the other sumbitch we needed to be watching. What happened was that America started to look back to the 40s and 50s for one of their cinema heroes like John Wayne. But unfortunately, in the 80s, John Wayne was no longer available. And so we had to settle for Ronald the Reagan. And it has given us all the impression somehow that we've been cast as supporting or non-supporting characters in what could be called a B movie. It is said. Us back to those inglorious days before heroes were zeros, before fair was square, when the cavalry came straight away and all American men were like Hemingway, to the days of the wondrous B-movie. The producer, underwritten by all the millionaires necessary, will be Casper, the defensive Weinberger. No more animated a choice is available. See, from my childhood, I remember a character called Casper, always looking for a friend, looking for a friend. No more animated a choice is surely available. The director that we mentioned later on in the tune was going to split the scene. Well, he split the scene a little bit sooner than we thought he would. Matter of fact, he split the scene a whole lot sooner than he thought he would. The director was called Attila the Hague. Frantically running around declaring himself in charge and in control, in charge and in control, in charge and in control. They said, bullshit, you're out of there. I think he made his move too soon. He's been replaced by a man we call Peanuts. Man's name is Schultz. If you get a good look at him, you will see someone who is a dead ringer for the Cowardly Lion on his way to see the wizard down the yellow brick road. Off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. The screenplay will be directed from a book called Voodoo Economics by George Papa Doc Bush, with an introduction by the one and only David the Trojan Horse Stockman. The theme song, the very military Macho Man. Macho, macho man. 2, 3, say you left, you left, you left, right, pow! We thought it ironic that a theme song for our president be written by a bunch of gay dudes. looking for the closest thing we could get to John Wayne. Cliches abound like kangaroos, courtesy of some spaced out Marlon Perkins, a ray gun contemporary. Cliches like tall in the saddle. Cliches like itchy trigger finger. Cliches like Gaddafi, get off of my planet by sundown. More so than cliches like he died with his boots on. The man is tough. The man is Marine tough. The man is Bogart tough. The man is Cagney tough. The man is John Wayne tough. The man is Cheap Steak tough. And Bonzo substantial. It goes all the way back from Hollywood to hillbillies, from liberal to libelous, from Bonzo to Birchite or Born Again. Civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, nothing happening. Call in the cavalry. Disrupt this perception of freedom gone wild. God damn it, first one of them wanted freedom, then they all act like they gotta have freedom. You give them an inch, and they'll take a mile. Lon Chaney, our man of 1,000 faces, got nothing on Ron. Doug Henning will do the makeup. It's magic. Special effects from Crazy Blue and Grecian Formula 16. Transportation furnished by the David Rockefeller Remote Control Corporation. Their slogan is, why wait till 1984? You can panic now and avoid the rush. So much for the good news. As Wall Street goes, so goes America. And here's a look at the closing stocks. Racism is up, human rights are down. Peace is shaky, war items are hot, the house claims all ties. Jobs are scarce, money is hard to come by, and common sense is at an all-time low with heavy trading. Movies were looking better than ever, and all of a sudden no one is looking because we're all starring in a B-movie. And we would have rather had John Wayne. Damn it, we would have done better if we'd have ended up somehow with John Wayne. Y'all got to help me. You don't have to be in no hurry. You won't ever really have to worry. You don't have to think about how you feel. Just keep repeating that none of this is real. And if you're thinking that something's wrong, well, just remember that it won't be too long before the director cuts the scene. Hey, this ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, and everybody ought to know that this ain't really your life. Wouldn't do your life like that. Say, this ain't really your life, ain't nothing but real, real. Say, this ain't really, really, really that silly. This really ain't real. This ain't really your life, and everybody ought to know that this ain't really your life, 'cause this ain't how your life would go. And this ain't really your life, ain't nothing but real, real. This ain't really, really, really that silly. This really ain't real. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, must be a camera in here somewhere. Say, this ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. Am I on? Am I on? Am I on? Am I on? This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't